The only meeting in the regular season between these two was a month ago in Chapel Hill, a 4-point win for the Tar Heels. But Pittsburgh playing very well lately. The return to good health for some of their stars, and we saw that yesterday in the convincing win over Wake Forest. Lamar Patterson, Talib Zanna were terrific.
And Lamar Patterson is a star. You're absolutely right, and an underrated star. He's a guy that's got a complete game. You call it an old man game. He plays the game on the floor, excellent with the ball. His vision is impeccable. Off of ball screens, he can get the ball to the roll man. He makes really good decisions. He doesn't blast off them. Oftentimes, he will take it on his own. He's a good three-point shooter, the best three-point shooter on this Pittsburgh team, and he's finally healthy with that wrist. And Talib Zanna coming off a 17-point game in the last ball game. He can really run. One of the best running big guys in the country. He can change his ends against a team in North Carolina that can really change ends themselves. So they've got a guy not only they can run with, they have to run in order to keep with Talib Zanna. Excellent offensive rebounder as well, Sean. He averages 3 offensive boards per game, and he screens and looks to score immediately after setting a screen.
Recovered from that ankle injury. Lamar Patterson's injured hand is better as well. Pittsburgh 24-8, but a big challenge today against the Heels. Here's Janine.
Well, Sean and Jay, you know, Roy Williams told us that this year has been the toughest and most challenging in his 26 years as a head coach. He said with the off-the-court issues like the P.J. Hairston situation, the academic investigation, and then the fact that they lost 4 of their first 5 ACC games, he said it was rough. But through it all, 2 things have resonated with him. He's learned to really savor his time on the court, teaching his kids at practice. And he told me he is really, really heartened by the way this team has grown and learned to play together. And of course, when they win, that makes everything better.
Thank you, Janine. You saw his record, 305 wins, the fastest coach in the ACC ever to 300 victories. 23-8 on the year. Carolina, Marcus Page, the first team all-conference player with McDonough, McAdoo, Tokido, an excellent defender, and the freshman Meeks for Pittsburgh at 24-8. Robinson, an excellent point guard with Cameron Wright, Patterson, Zanna, and Young, the front court. For Jamie Dixon, Pittsburgh in its first year in the ACC, the number 5 seed, 11-7 in the regular season in conference play, and then the win yesterday over Wake Forest. They earned the date with the Heels, who are dressed in white, and look like McAdoo stole the tip on the way up.
Pittsburgh, a man-to-man team. Cameron Wright, the best perimeter defender for Pitt, is on Marcus Page.
Page is open for 3. Kennedy Meeks on the offensive glass. The 2 outstanding offensive rebounding teams. Page another try, no. And Zanna, the senior in traffic, with a rebound for Pitt.
Well, Kennedy Meeks was ill against Duke at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Didn't play very much. That was a great offensive rebound and relocation pass for an open 3 to Page. They just didn't make it.
James Robinson, sophomore point guard, and now Patterson was outstanding in their win yesterday over Wake Forest at 24 points. Talib Zanna, the bucket.
Well, Talib Zanna goes out to set a ball screen. He's being guarded by Kennedy Meeks. And they are going to make Meeks guard ball screens all game long because Patterson is so good at reading the roll guy. Meeks steps out, and immediately that pocket pass through the middle is going to get an easy basket. You're going to see them involve these Carolina big guys in ball screens every time down.
Tokido the pull up from the free throw line. Robinson the rebound.
Zanna looking to beat Meeks down the floor. He's more mobile, more agile.
Robinson in among the tall trees, and a hand check foul called by Carl Hess. He's working with Brian Dorsey and Ramey Steins. J.P. Tokido called for the foul.
Tokido was trying to close out on Patterson. Patterson with that good shot fake. He's got a shot fake as good as anybody in the country.
You've examined the shot fakes?
I have. I've looked at all shot fakes. And I have determined that Lamar Patterson is as good as anyone.
That must have been exhausting research.
You should have had my research on play-by-play guys. You didn't fare quite as well as Patterson did.
No surprise there. James Robinson bangs it home. And a good start for the Panthers.
Good switch out by Cameron Wright on McDonough coming off that stagger.
Tokido bounce pass into traffic, got away with it. It was intended for McAdoo. Wound up with Meeks. They surround Meeks. 15 to shoot for North Carolina.
A lot of switches and doubles.
McAdoo too strong. He follows a Meeks tip with one of his own, and it falls into the arms of Lamar Patterson. Robinson, offensive foul.
A terrific job by Leslie McDonough, not only to get back, but to set up. That's a terrific pass ahead by Patterson. And he had 2 feet on the floor facing the ball handler. You can actually move to maintain that position. It looked like he got there before Cameron Wright took off. Pittsburgh, Sean, is so active defensively. They're communicating, getting through screens and switching and doubling when it goes in the post.
Tokido trying to feed McAdoo in the post. 3 is wide right from Leslie McDonough. They're not a good 3-point shooting team. 4 threes per game for North Carolina, among the fewest in the country. Jamie Dixon, remarkable success in the Big East, as a matter of fact, by winning percentage. He is the winningest coach in the history of the Big East, now leading Pitt in its first year in the ACC.
Pittsburgh sets a ton of on-ball screens, and usually for Patterson.
Young, no. Corralled by Meeks. North Carolina 0 for 7. Mentioned the crowd on their side. They're about an hour from their campus, and this building is filled with Carolina blue. Meeks will have a chance to get them on the board at the free throw line, as he was fouled by Michael Young, his first.
Big body, gets low post position. And Kennedy Meeks has gotten better and better as the season has gone on. He was terrific at Florida State. Had 23 points in that game when James Michael McAdoo didn't even score, fouled out of that one. And if not for the play of Meeks, it would have been difficult for North Carolina to win that game.
Makes the first. They're on board, and a big cheer goes up. Meeks just 58% from the free throw line. Member of the ACC all-freshman team. They struggle as a team from the line. 62.4%. 340th in the country.
Well, those 6 rebounds that Meeks averages, he's among the best rebounders in the country on a per-minute basis.
Wright went up in the air, dropped the ball, and then when he picked it back up, he gets called for a travel.
One thing that North Carolina probably doesn't get near the credit they deserve for is the way they defend. This is a good defensive team, and it has been all year long. Now they're going into a box set, so a little diagonal up screen, then a stagger away for McDonough.
McDonough had trouble on the dribble, and it's a held ball. It'll go over to Pittsburgh.
It's going to be tough to run those set plays against Pittsburgh. They're very good at taking away patterned and predictable movement. They scout very well, and more important, a lot of teams that scout very well, but the players actually execute these scouting reports.
North Carolina's won 17 ACC tournament titles. Only Duke has more, 19. Carolina hasn't won the ACC tournament since 2008. They've had their chances in the championship game each of the last 3 years. Last year lost to Miami in the final. 2 years ago Florida State. 3 years ago Duke. Patterson with Tokido on him. Tokido's on the ACC all-defensive team, and an offensive foul called as McAdoo stepped in to take the hit.
James Michael McAdoo steps in to take a lot of charges, and especially this year when it's a little bit more difficult to get a charge, that takes some guts. He was seeing both man and ball, and he was definitely there before Lamar Patterson started his upward motion.
Nate Britt's come off the bench, backup guard. McAdoo, a strong move to the basket. First field goal for North Carolina comes more than 4 minutes in.
That's what McAdoo does best. He's a catch and go driver. They take away his drives and make him into a jump shooter.
Patterson long with a 3. Page, the long rebound and the push. Britt, freshman, Page throws it high in the air. Scoop shot that wouldn't fall through. Zana over Desmond Hubert, and it rolls off. Good inside position by the freshman Michael Young. From the Pittsburgh area, grew up a Panther fan. He played high school basketball at St. Benedict's in New Jersey.
Got good versatility. Had 9 points, 3 rebounds against Wake Forest.
McAdoo long with the left. 6'3" Pitt, and the Panthers look to get out in transition. Cameron Wright is fouled, and he'll shoot a pair of free throws after our first media timeout of this ball game. Fouls on Marcus Page, his first.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And the Dodge Dart. Dodge, new rules.
These two teams played in the regular season February 15th at Chapel Hill. Roy Williams made some friends. Carolina led by 12 with under 9 minutes to go. Led by Marcus Page, who had 18 points. James Michael McAdoo was tremendous. He had 24. He had 12 rebounds, 7 on the offensive end. The Pitt battled back. They had chances to tie it in the waning seconds. Some great opportunities close to the bucket. North Carolina held on for a 4-point win. We talked to Jamie Dixon last night. He said foul trouble was a big problem in that game for Pittsburgh, and they weren't as healthy then as they are now. He thought he played too much zone in that game to protect the foul trouble. Wished he had played less of it with hindsight.
Well, as a result of that, they gave up a lot of second chance opportunities to North Carolina, an excellent offensive rebounding team. But the Tar Heels, a possession down right now with Cam Wright having 2 free throws. And North Carolina got out of the gate 1 of 10 from the field.
Wright makes the first free throw. Junior from Cleveland. He was the Scholar Athlete of the Year in the ACC in basketball. Marketing major. Won the Skip Prosser Award, named for the late great Wake Forest coach. One of the all-time nice people coached this game at the college level. Page, good catch in traffic by Bryce Johnson. Then he missed a shorty, and Zana got knocked to the deck.
That was a great catch, but a poor finish. North Carolina can't get anything to go right now, and that's putting a lot of pressure on the Tar Heel defense.
Foul on Bryce Johnson, his first. He's a sophomore. Orangeburg, South Carolina. Dad was his high school coach. Zana rolled to the bucket, blocked up high. And on the held ball, it'll go over to North Carolina. Nice block by Desmond Hubert.
Well, nice recovery because he was out as the hedge guy, and Bryce Johnson came over from the weak side to stop Zana on the roll. And Hubert did not give up on that play. Covered a lot of ground to get there to block that shot.
Nate Britt, the lob, and Johnson, another great catch. And he was able to drop it in. That was doubly tough. The catch was tough. Didn't really look like he had firm possession of the ball, but still managed to get it through the hoop.
It drives coaches crazy. That's the Carolina's wing ball screen, their secondary break, their wing back screen, excuse me, their secondary break to get the lob. They run it over and over again.
You always expect your team to take that away, but it's so hard to take it away.
Nice fake.
By Page, and then he tried to feed it to Tokido. Tokido thought Page was going to shoot it from inside the lane and was heading toward the offensive glass.
He should have shot it because he could have gotten a foul if he would have leaned into the defense.
James Robinson, sophomore from Mitchellville, Maryland. He played at the great basketball high school power DeMatha, where he was the winningest player in the history of that school. And you think about all the great teams they had. That's quite an accomplishment. Tokido. Boy, they are dreadful for the first 7 minutes. Both teams scuffling on offense, particularly Carolina.
Well, when you can't score, you don't want JP Tokido. As good of a defender, as good as he is in playing above the rim as a driver, you don't want him taking jump shots. They've got to get a bucket.
Josh Newkirk called for an offensive foul, using his free arm to clear away the defender. First foul on Newkirk.
Just a simple wing back screen. Take the ball to the right. The wing guy from the corner comes up and sets the back pick. Just wasn't communicated by a very good defensive team in Pittsburgh, and well executed by North Carolina. North Carolina has played horribly at the offensive end. They're down one possession.
It's pitcher's duel right now, 8-5, more than 7 minutes in.
Not that North Carolina's not a great shooting team, but the quality of their shots has not been as high as they need it to be.
Got a good look at the basket there from Bryce Johnson.
Bryce Johnson is a scorer, and he is very quick from the catch to the release. He doesn't keep that ball for very long. He catches it, he shoots it.
Averages 10 points per game in under 20 minutes per game. Robinson got banged. McDonald and Britt converged, and they charged the foul to Leslie McDonald, the senior from Memphis, his first.
Well, a little mistake defensively by Talib Zana to go on the low side and open up the basket side. You got to stay between your man and the basket. When you play against Bryce Johnson, he's such a good scorer. You have to play him before he gets the ball. If you're playing him after, he's going to score.
Mel Artis is in the game for Pitt, number 1. Robinson got the nice bounce off the rim. It just grazed the backboard and fell through.
Nate Britt trying to push the ball up the floor as quickly as he can to try to get some early offense. And with Johnson, he can really motor up and down the floor.
Foul called on Artis of Pitt. That gets us to immediate timeout with 11:48 to go. ACC quarterfinal action. Defense ruling the day so far. Pittsburgh leading 10-7. Back in the Greensboro Coliseum hosting this event for the 25th time. It'll be here next year in Washington the year after. But the future beyond that point still to be determined. With more on that, here's Janine.
That's right, Sean. You know, there are reports today that talks are underway to possibly move the ACC Tournament to New York's Barclays Center in Brooklyn for that 2017 year. Now, the Atlantic 10 Conference already has their tournament scheduled for the Barclays Center for that year. So there are some negotiations that are ongoing. ACC Commissioner John Swofford told me a little while ago that, yes, they have been discussing possibly having the ACC Tournament in New York for quite a while now, but at this point in time, as of today, he would rather not comment on the status of those negotiations while this tournament is ongoing. But like you said, Sean, it will be played here again next year.
And that's understandable that John wouldn't want to comment. The negotiations are ongoing. He doesn't want to take any attention away from this event or from Greensboro, which has been a terrific host of this tournament. They love having it here. You saw the banners, Tournament Town, what Greensboro calls itself. And I tell you who loves playing here, Carolina. They're 111-28 all time in this building.
Well, ultimately, you have to think that the ACC now going up and down the Eastern Seaboard and including so many former Big East teams, another great shot fake, is going to want to get up into the New York area. I think it's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
The Big East has Madison Square Garden tied up contractually for quite a while. It does make sense to move it around, and you and I spent a lot of time at the Big East tournament in New York. There's no better place, no bigger stage to host a conference tournament than Madison Square Garden, or perhaps the Barclays Center, which is a beautiful new building. Robinson off the giveaway by the heels lays it in, and on the heels of a basket by Patterson, it's a one-touchdown lead for Pittsburgh nearly midway through the first half.
When you're having a hard time scoring, you certainly don't want to give up easy baskets, and North Carolina has done just that.
McDonough, offensive foul, as Patterson took the charge.
Well, we start off talking about the Big East, and we have a Big East rock fight right here. Just a poor pass by Nate Britt, and that allows James Robinson to take it the other way. And in a game where it's been very difficult to get anything easy, they got something easy. And then Patterson again off the ball screen. Just he keeps his dribble so well, and he used his body so well. When Isaiah Hicks got switched off on him, he just went right into his chest and created that space. Didn't get it off the initial action. He's patient.
Robinson guarded by Marcus Page. 10 seconds to shoot for Pittsburgh.
Single double floppy set for Lamar Patterson.
Step back three with Isaiah Hicks guarding, and wound up in the hands of Talib Zana. All alone right underneath the basket for the easy dunk.
Jamel Artis did a great job of keeping that ball alive. Basically, he should get an assist for that.
McAdoo fouled on the arm. He'll go to the line to try to stop this Pittsburgh run, which is 8-0.
Talib Zana, one of the best offensive rebounders in the country, went out to set a ball screen, still found his way to the glass, but Jamel Artis, going up against two Tar Heels down low, was able to just tap the ball to him for the easy basket.
And the artist known as Jamel, guilty of the foul against McAdoo. One of the weaknesses, one of the few of James Michael's game from the free throw line. He's just 52.7% from the line. He shoots more free throws than any other player in the ACC. 238 of them this year now. Second team all conference this year by both the media and the coaches. Excuse me, third team by the coaches, second team media. When they combine the poll, as Jay insists, then we won't have to worry about the difference.
There will be no more confusion.
Right underneath for Young. 9.5 to go, first half. Just 8 points on the board for North Carolina. Josh Newkirk, blocking foul called this time. And the speedy freshman will go to the line. Jamie Dixon told us last night Newkirk is the quickest player they've had during his time at Pitt, and he's been there for 15 years.
Great speed, and McAdoo just slides in there. Was moving as Newkirk got into a shooting motion. Newkirk's been playing very well of late. Last 4 games averaging over 10 points a game. He had 10 in the blowout of Wake Forest.
Makes the first free throw. He's the first recruit from this part of the world for Pitt. When they moved toward the ACC, they started recruiting in this part of the country. They got him from Raleigh, North Carolina. Jamie was telling us last night he went to Word of God Academy, a private school. John Wall played there, C.J. Leslie. He was at his public high school, and as so often happens, he was playing center because that's what they needed him to play. So he decided, I don't think I'm going to stick around here and play center. So leaves Zana his 6th rebound. Panthers with a double-digit lead on the ball, approaching 9 minutes to go in the first half.
This is not the North Carolina team we've seen the last 13, 14 games. They're not tough around the basket. They're not finishing plays, and they're giving up easy baskets, and they have not been doing that.
Cameron Wright's basically uncontested layup. Roy Williams has seen enough. Just a moment ago, Roy Williams getting after his team. It certainly looked like you could question the effort level in that last sequence when Cameron Wright floated to the bucket for an easy layup.
Well, that's one thing. But the other thing is on the offensive end. It's been too much dribbling, not enough passing, and not enough running. They haven't shown toughness on the offensive end to get the shot they want.
3 for 16, and now another turnover, their 5th, as Robinson took it back for Pittsburgh.
Was not strong with the ball. And North Carolina looks like they're in a little bit of a daze.
Jamie Dixon didn't like the way that was going. Newkirk about to be trapped in the corner, so Pittsburgh calls a 30-second timeout. Jamie very pleased with the way his team has played lately. They've won 4 of their last 5, and the only loss was against NC State, and they're 24-8. He told us last night, Jay, if you take away some very close losses and that stretch where Zana and Patterson were hurt, he thinks they would have been right up there as a contender for the ACC title.
That may be true. I mean, everybody's had some injuries, though. The question is, I think he was asking himself, should I have played these guys when they were hurt? Does that hurt him in selection and seeding? I mean, Pittsburgh's an NCAA tournament team. That's not even a question. The issue is where they're going to be seeded. And as they go toward the NCAA tournament, really the key is winning this thing. I mean, they're good enough to win this thing.
They're 18-2, 6-1 in the conference. That's just about when the hand injury to Patterson, the ankle for Zana, happened. They're on a 12-1 run right now.
Pittsburgh has always been a good conference tournament team.
Kick ball by Marcus Page.
And how many years did they play in the Big East final? I mean, they had such great success in Madison Square Garden in the Big East tournament.
Jamie Dixon won 2 Big East regular season titles, 1 Big East tournament championship in his 10 years as a coach in the Big East. 15 to shoot for the Panthers. Wright whips it to Robinson, an open 3. They were impressive yesterday, Jay, and they are impressive again today.
Well, their defense has been good, and the ball is moving. Good low cross.
Andy Meeks, well guarded by Zana.
Getting a little contact, but not fighting through it.
Patterson. Zana tips it in over Meeks.
So that's his mobility, Sean. Meeks just wasn't quick enough to be able to box him out. Didn't get contact and keep it.
I believe Zana having his best year as a senior. 6 points and 8 rebounds. He was honorable mention all ACC. That basically means 4th team. They picked 3 5-man teams ahead of the honorable mention squad.
Pittsburgh is playing like they're on a people mover, and North Carolina is playing like they're in sand.
And Tokido a 3, and then Meeks over the back. Called for the foul.
These are the 2 highest assist teams in the ACC. And right now, the ball is moving on one end and finding the open man, making the extra pass. On the other end, it is not. Here's Pittsburgh making that extra pass, and the quality of shot is high.
Chris Cotter in studio. Florida and Mizzou tied at the half. Not so much when the final buzzer went off. Here, Michael Frazier with the 3. He had 15 on the day. Florida blew Missouri out in the second half, so the #1 team in the land advances. Meanwhile, Amir Williams throwing this one down with authority for Ohio State. Good one between Nebraska and Ohio State right now. Back to Greensboro.
Thank you, Chris. Friends, we remind you ESPN's coverage of the tournament continues on Sunday. A special sports center at 5:30, then at 7, bracketology. All the latest news and analysis from our great panel of experts. Sports Center at 5:30, bracketology at 7 Sunday on ESPN, and also live on Watch ESPN. Lamar Patterson misses the free throw. It's a 17-1 run for Pitt. Just 1 point in the last 5 minutes and 20 seconds for North Carolina.
North Carolina got off to a 3 of 18 start. They are 3 of 18, and Pittsburgh has scored more points off of turnovers and offensive rebounds than Carolina has scored points total.
North Carolina 0 for 5 from beyond the arc, and only 2 out of 4 from the free throw line. 0 for 6 as Page misses from behind the three-point line.
It's been all jump shots for North Carolina. When they've gotten the ball inside, they've not been strong to finish. And in the second, in this portion of the game, they're just settling for jumpers.
Patterson guarded by Tokido. 15 to shoot, 6.5 left in the half. Panthers beat Wake Forest by 29 yesterday, their biggest win ever in a conference tournament game. And they are, wow, didn't need that from Patterson behind the back. They're hammering the heels at the moment, but a long way to go against an explosive team.
What is
and
with
a free throw opportunity for McAdoo?
What is with the behind the back passes we've seen the last 2 days? They haven't worked out, so I don't know why it's a trend. And Lamar Patterson is too smart for that. You know, he goes with a ball screen action, trying to put Joel James in. It doesn't move his feet particularly well, so they involve him in that screening action. And then he makes a mistake when they've got a lead and they've got their boot on North Carolina's neck. Really poor play and poor decision on the part of Lamar Patterson. He doesn't make many bad decisions.
McAdoo missed the first. Jamel Artis comes back in. He has 2 fouls. He replaced Michael Young, who has 2. They were roommates at St. Benedict's Prep in New Jersey, high school. Carolina 3 out of 6 from the line. They finished the year where they are right now at 62.4%. Would be the worst free throw shooting team for North Carolina since 1953-54. Tokido last to touch.
North Carolina went with their scramble. As soon as it comes across half court, they bring a trap, and then they rotate and they take away the most obvious pass. They have someone as a goaltender protecting the rim. They've always been very successful with that defense.
Trying to tighten up the man-to-man now with Page right up on Robinson, who needs to get moving, and then Tokido charged at him. He got called for his second.
You got to get up there and get on the ball without putting your hands on the ball handler. That was an obvious call. It's 2 hands on the handler.
That put North Carolina over the limit. It sends James Robinson to the line. 81.3% for the year. He has as many points as North Carolina in the game, and unlike Carolina, he hasn't missed a shot.
And he's automatic basically from the free throw line. One of those guys that you never need to call a play for him. Plays hard. He's a good defender. Pass first. Point guard. Really does a good job. He's a winner.
Been an important member of some USA international teams the last 2 summers. Played on gold medal winning teams for Team USA. Tokido, strong move from the corner all the way to the basket.
The ball goes from one side of the floor to the other. Not a shock that you get a better shot.
Roy Williams up off the bench, and the Carolina fans trying to get involved. Traveling the call. Artis caught the ball. Jamie Dixon thought McAdoo shoved him, but Carl Hess called it a walk.
One of the few times that Pittsburgh has given up anything easy, and Joel James did a nice job of screening the defender off. Looked like McAdoo might have gotten away with a little trip there, but a little bit of momentum, as brief as it has been for North Carolina. They got to take advantage of it and get back in this game.
McAdoo lob, and it was flicked away by Artis, who was ready to deny Bryce Johnson. And then it's turned back over.
There's a lot of questionable decisions on both ends right now, but especially on the part of the Tar Heels. That lob just wasn't there.
Nate Britt running the show right now. Freshman from Upper Marlboro, North Carolina. He's out of Oak Hill Academy, perennially a Howard. Playing on a team that won a high school national championship. McAdoo, too strong. Well positioned. Tokido, and a foul.
And when Pittsburgh, Sean, brings that double team into the low post, that can open up the offensive glass. And McAdoo didn't make as strong a move as he's capable to the basket, but it wound up opening up the offensive glass. He had 2 rebounding against 1, and it's a guard on the other end, James Robinson, and that allowed Tokido, who's a spectacular athlete, to just rise above and finish that play.
Robinson's foul is first. The free throw woes continue. That's been a season-long problem. Matter of fact, in North Carolina's 8 losses, they've shot 51% from the free throw line. Robinson makes a move on Page into the lane. He was fouled. Travel is the request from the North Carolina fans. They're not going to get that call from Brian Dorsey. Instead, it's the second foul on Johnson.
Well, he's just able to get his shoulders out in front of Marcus Page, and you're not going to be able to recover. You got to step over there. McAdoo grabbed him instead of moving his feet.
Shooting foul, so 2 shots for Robinson. The team foul on Carolina, the 9th.
I don't see that very often.
Lamar Patterson will return for Jamie Dixon. Robinson goes out.
Well, Sean, it's been a while since we've seen North Carolina sluggish like this. I think the last time that I can recall was when they played at Virginia. Almost threw that one away.
Cam Wright instead. Marcus Page all the way to the goal. 4.5 to go. Largest lead was 18. North Carolina's knocked it down to 13. First field goal for Page.
They can get it down to under 10 by the half. That would be a victory of sorts for North Carolina. Get them back in it.
Pittsburgh with this big lead, despite the fact they have just 2 points from Lamar Patterson. They have a 13-point lead. In a possession that looks like a turnover waiting to happen. Will it end in a basket for Patterson? No. Nor would the tip go. Wow, quick whistle on a held ball as Zana whipped it away. And it'll be Pittsburgh's ball on the arrow after the media timeout.
One of the ways that Marcus Page excels, and he excels in a lot of ways, is off of broken plays. That broken play gets all the way to the rim and kisses it off the glass. He needs to get going for North Carolina to get going.
I'm Chris Cotter back in Bristol. Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report coming up. Bruce Pearl is going to join me. Another buzzer beater and another top seed goes down. The Bonnies advance, and Florida, meanwhile, going for their 24th straight win. Tied early. It was not tied at the end of the game against Mizzou. Back out to Greensboro.
A lot of surprises during this championship week. We didn't have one in the first game here today. Tony Bennett and the Virginia Cavaliers, the regular season ACC champions, beat Florida State 64-51. So the Hoos on to the ACC Tournament semifinals for the first time since 1995, and they'll play the winner of this game. Pittsburgh leading by 13. North Carolina on a 6-1 run right now.
And North Carolina in a 1-2-2 zone. JP Tokido up top. He'll drop down when the ball goes to the wing or below. Makes it look more like a 2-3. Talib Zanna has been really active. He moves his feet so he's already got 10 rebounds in the game.
They need a shot with the clock at 5. With the clock at 1. Patterson, a buzzer-beating 3.
Not the best offensive possession for Pittsburgh, but it looked awfully good at the end.
That was easy for Bryce Johnson.
That's where North Carolina's got to get a little bit more aggressive with their early offense. If they don't get it, then they can pull it back out and run some offense. They need to push the ball up the court, whether it's off a make or a miss.
6 points for Bryce Johnson. That leads North Carolina. James Robinson leads all scorers with 12. He's on the bench right now for Pittsburgh. Josh Newkirk, the freshman, in at the point. Artis rattled out to JP Tokido, Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. He was 3 times first-team All-State in Wisconsin in high school. Page, yes. Good move by Johnson to leave it alone as it hung on the rim and fell through for Marcus Page. North Carolina within 12.
They're going to stick with this 1-2-2. One thing you have to do against Pittsburgh is rebound out of it. This is a very good offensive rebounding team, as is North Carolina's 2 best offensive rebounding teams in the league.
Zanna, nice interior pass to Jamel Artis. You think back to the days when Ben Howland was the coach and Jamie Dixon was assistant. Pittsburgh, year in and year out, one of the best interior passing teams in the country. Johnson alone again. They might want to figure that one out as McAdoo found him.
Well, North Carolina getting something out of their early offense. Now going back to man-to-man. Tokido is on Patterson.
Still plenty of time on the shot clock.
Ball screen slip, ball screen roll.
Artis will try another 3. Jamel Artis.
Well, that is really good action. Artis slipped off the first screen and essentially came up as a replace guy off the roll by Zanna.
Page fouled after the release, and he'll have a chance for a 3-point play. Second foul on Lamar Patterson.
Well, it's a lot better ball game when you punch back, and North Carolina's punching back. There's the double screen, the roll, and essentially the replace by Jamel Artis, who was ready to shoot when he caught it. And a poor decision right here by Lamar Patterson to foul an excellent scorer and a first-team All-ACC member, Marcus Page. And North Carolina starting to perk up.
That was a bad decision. There was no way he was going to get there in time to alter the shot. It leads to a point for North Carolina, and another personal foul for Patterson, his second. 7 points in the last 3.5 minutes for Page, who scores twice as many points over the course of the year in the second half than he does in the first half.
Isaiah Hicks on Patterson now. Hicks just a freshman, and Patterson going to try to take advantage of him.
Patterson's been well guarded most of the half by Tokido, who's a member of the all-defensive team in the ACC. Under a half minute to go in the half. 5 to shoot. Robinson needs to move it somewhere. Shoots it. And Carolina can take the last shot of the half. That's what Roy Williams is off the bench calling for.
Maybe the best defensive possession that North Carolina's had in quite some time. Now they need to follow it up by getting a score.
Well, Roy has talked about the problems early in the year largely being a product of inconsistent effort, and that looked to be the case in this first half. McAdoo hits the fadeaway at the buzzer, and a little bit of momentum for the Tar Heels. Heading to the locker room, down by as many as 18. They started 3 for 19 from the floor. With this bucket, they finished 8 for their last 9.
Boy, a very difficult shot for James Michael McAdoo, but North Carolina's been a resilient team all year long. They've been a resilient team in this first half to fight back.
Here's Janine.
Coach, North Carolina has looked different in these last few minutes. What are you noticing? What's changed from them?
Oh, well, we're good. We're up 10. We're in good shape. Made some tough shots at the end there, and fall away, and another fall away. So we got to keep defending like we are and finish our plays and make some free throws. But we're in good shape.
Yesterday and so far today, great synergy I've seen from your team. What's contributing to that?
Well, we've been pretty good all year long, and we've been playing hard. I think our defensive man has gotten better and it's improved. So guys are healthy and we're ready to go.
Thanks, Jamie.
We can also tell you the officials are at the monitor reviewing that three-point field goal by Artis. We'll let you know when we come back if it's still a three. For the moment, at least, it's 36-26 Pittsburgh. Now the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report with Chris Cotter and Bruce Pearl.
Thank you, Sean. Bruce Pearl's in studio with the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime, A-10 quarterfinals. What a job Jim Cruz has done with St. Louis, the #1 seed, taking on St. Bonaventure. This one was close, though, Coach. 5 minutes remaining. Jordair Jet is going to drive and get the lay-in, but this still just put them within 2 points.
Well, St. Bonaventure played a 1-3-1. It bothered them, and they made big shots all game long.
Matthew Wright, 5 of 8 from beyond the arc. He finished with 22. St. Bonnie up 3, ensuing St. Louis possession. Twain Evans, little fake, and he drains the 3.
He's the guy you want to have the ball in that situation. Tie ball game, got to draw something up.
And here's what they draw up here for St. Bonaventure. Jordan Gathers eventually gets it, Coach, and he drains it.
That's a big-time shot for a big-time play, just as the coach drew it up on the sideline.
How does this play itself out?
Well, it's a top ball screen, and it's a slip. And then number 35 is actually going to set a screen on 21 as he rolls to protect the rim. There comes the shooter up the top side. Nobody notices him. Bang! Nothing but the bottom of the net.
St. Bonaventure advances once again, a top seed. We saw it so much in some of the other earlier tournament games earlier in the week, but now we're starting to see it again. That 8-9 game winner is taking out the top seed. It happens in the A-10, so congratulations to St. Bonaventure. They advance. Our game right here, Pitt 36, North Carolina 26. And, Coach, this was going to be a runaway for Pitt. They were up 18. What were they doing so well earlier that Carolina was not doing?
Just smashing them in the mouth. I mean, a fight broke out in Greensboro, North Carolina. Nobody told North Carolina until about 10 minutes to go in the first half. It was second chance points. Look at this ball screen and roll. To leave Zana rolls to the basket. Kennedy Meeks, no help, no rotation. And then inside shots lead to inside baskets. Great position on the backside by Pittsburgh. Second chance points. Watch this. They're going to keep the ball alive here. Bang. Tip it up. I can't get it myself. Finish. Those are effort and energy plays. And Roy Williams is not having it.
Well, this is one of the reasons why he's not having it right here. North Carolina was stuck on 8 forever. They actually went about 7 minutes without a field goal, Coach, as we take a look at the shot chart. Just struggling from all over.
Give Carolina credit for coming back. But I tell you what, Wake Forest, they're in Winston-Salem. They got beat down by 29 by Pittsburgh. North Carolina, they're from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. This game's in Greensboro, and Pittsburgh's playing Big East-style basketball.
Lead by 10 right now at the half. Earlier in the day in Greensboro, Virginia taking on Florida State. Florida State, according to Joel Nardi, if they win, they're in, clearly on the bubble. Second half, this was a close game, Coach, until Joe Harris started to take over. Here to Akil Mitchell down low. Virginia led by 8, and then Harris started filling up from outside.
I'll tell you, Virginia does a great job coming from the bottom up to the top for those shots and those screens and the curl cuts. They're efficient offensively, and they're solid on D.
Harris again with another 3 coming off the screen here. He had 20 on the day, and Virginia wins handily going away. So that #1 seed survives. How about this #1 seed right here? The #1 team in the country, Florida. Close game against Missouri early. Would it stay close? We'll have highlights of this one coming up.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Sport Clips. It's not just a haircut, it's pure awesome. Sport Clips. It's good to be a guy. And USAA, proudly serving the financial needs of current and former military members and their families. Welcome back to the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report.
Chris Cotter, Bruce Pearl over in the Big Ten, Ohio State and Nebraska. Coach, how's Ohio State going to get points? How about off the turnover?
That's about the only way they can get points easiest. Unbelievable pass by Kraft to Thompson.
Then Kraft is going to find Thompson again and one. So Ohio State was up early, but Coach, we all know Nebraska has been a second-half team this year, and they are coming on strong right now.
Well, Petaway and Pitchford are very, very tough covers. Nebraska better offensively than Ohio State. Let's see what happens in the second half.
31-28 right now, Nebraska with the lead over on ESPN. Earlier today in Big Ten play, John Beilein in Michigan taking on Illinois. Second half, Spike Albrecht, we all remember him in March last year. How about this year? Hitting the deep three, Michigan up 11, so they're going to run away and hide, right?
No, they're not, because this Illinois team has not given up. Rayvonte Rice has been the answer.
He finishes here. He had 11 points, most of them in the second half. Illinois up by one. Final seconds here. Nick Skoustauskas, there's your game winner to Jordan Morgan.
The senior Jordan Morgan scores through contact. That's a big bucket. A game winner, potentially.
Potentially. Good call. I'm glad you said that because there was one final shot and a good shot by Tracy Abrams. Just couldn't get it to fall.
Yeah, Karis LeVert overran the ball. Great look by Illinois. They're going to be a factor in IT, and Michigan advances.
Florida, the number one team in the SEC, obviously the number one team in the country, taking on Mizzou, trying to keep their hopes alive. Tie game at the half, but second half, just too much Florida pressure.
Look at what exactly. They come out in full court pressure. They turn Missouri over. Mizzou, only 20 second half points.
Scotty Wilbekin, he had 15. Frazier had 15 as well. Look at Patrick Young down low, battling. Florida went on a 12-0 run to blow this thing open, Coach.
Well, and I think the other thing is they're starting to shoot the ball from three, Chris. They've been heating up in the last third. They made 12 of them on 57% shooting.
And Florida goes on to win handily again after that game was tied at the half. So let's take a look at the SEC here. Florida advances, just tipping up right now over on ESPNU. Tennessee and South Carolina, Coach. Tennessee, one of those teams, they've done what they've needed to do to get the W.
16-2 the last 18 times Tennessee's played South Carolina.
This halftime report is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, the official hangout for NCAA March Madness. Halftime Report is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, the official hangout for NCAA March Madness.
A couple of bubble teams in the A10. Dayton and St. Joe's v. Sanford. He's going to knock down this three coming off the screen. Coach, Flyers up 4.
Well, these are two really good basketball teams, efficient offensively and pretty solid on the defensive end as well.
Khalil Kanasevich here with the layup and one. St. Joe's down 1 at this point. Both these teams fighting for their lives. Langston Galloway versus lay-in here in Brooklyn. Right now, a 1-point game at the half. St. Joe's on top. Stay tuned to that one as we'll let you know how that one goes throughout the rest of the day. Headlines, Phil Jackson expected to finalize his deal. Chris Broussard said it'll be $12 million with the Knicks. Stan Heat fired. Tom Harrion resigns. Second half from Greensboro coming up.
Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods.
Pittsburgh and North Carolina in the second ACC quarterfinal. The ACC on ESPN from the Greensboro Coliseum. The winner of this one will play Virginia. Pittsburgh by 10 at the break over Carolina. They had an 18-point lead, but North Carolina, Jay, dramatically improved its offense down the stretch of that first half.
Yeah, North Carolina started out 3 of 19 from the field in large measure because of Pittsburgh's really good defense, both in the half court and taking away their transition. Then they finished up 8 of 9 the last 6 minutes. Didn't have a turnover, but Talib Zanna started off the game in fine fashion. He was mobile, got out set ball screens, and when he did set, he rolled hard to the basket when there was no rotation. He took advantage of it, and he was excellent on the glass. He had 10 rebounds in that first half. He was quick to the ball, and he was quick up and down the floor, a guy who runs the floor very effectively. And the point guard, James Robinson, was terrific in that first half. Made really good decisions when he was open. He took his shot. He was 4 of 5 in the first half, hit his only 3, had 12 points
which is over his season average. And his team really moved the ball effectively, and North Carolina really struggled. There's Zana with those 10 rebounds. He also had 3 assists. But Sean, in the last 6 minutes, North Carolina looked like the team that they had been of late, because the first 14 minutes, they were the team that started out 1-4.
Yeah, they scored on each of the last 10 possessions of the first half to get within 10. Kennedy Meeks called for a moving screen, not what Roy Williams had in mind to begin the half. Here's Janine.
Well, yeah, Sean, Roy Williams had a laundry list of things that he was not happy about in that first half, but at the very tippy top of that list, we didn't compete, he said. We weren't competing, we were slow, we had no sense of urgency. More importantly, he wants them to move the ball on offense and not be so impatient with their shooting.
All right, Janine, thank you. Cameron Wright to Lamar Patterson. Right from the elbow. That popped out. Zana, great work on the rebounding again.
Well, he's been a man inside.
Open 3 for Lamar Patterson.
Anytime, Sean, there's an offensive rebound, I think it is the best time to shoot a 3. Because everybody, you know, the defense is no longer thinking about defense. They're thinking about taking the ball the other way. And everybody's inside that 3-point line.
Those are 2 of the 3 best rebounding teams in the ACC. Virginia, number 1 in rebounding margin at plus 6.5 per game, but Pittsburgh's plus 6.4 and North Carolina's right behind. Page short with a 3. Rebound to Robinson, who not only had 12 points in the first half, but no turnovers for the Pittsburgh point guard.
And North Carolina just settling for bad shots. That was a bad shot by Marcus Page, but here's the shot in the offensive rebound by Zana. Keeping it alive, then kicking it out. Everybody for North Carolina inside the 3-point line. And then it's kicked immediately to the corner, and J.P. Tokido has to close out a long distance. And it's just an easy shot in rhythm for Lamar Patterson.
3 fouls now on Leslie McDonald. He got called for a hand check.
They need to switch back out because Marcus Page said, I'm not supposed to be guarding Lamar Patterson, JP. That's supposed to be you.
Page up on Robinson now. Zana working on Desmond Hubert, who just came in for Kennedy Meeks. The jump hook, no. Tokido held off Michael Young.
Pittsburgh almost got that ball. North Carolina should have that easily.
In contact, Page did a good job drawing the foul from Cameron Wright, his second. First foul in the half on Pitt.
Marcus Page has been a second half player, not only in conference play but all season long, averaging 5 in the first half, 11 in the second. He has had some big second halves, and including overtime periods, including the game he had at NC State where he wound up with 35. Kind of joke that maybe Roy Williams and his staff just before the game tell him it's halftime.
Yeah, I heard you say that on an earlier telecast.
You were listening?
What? I don't listen when I sit next to you, so I watch you on TV. I sometimes pay attention. Young called for the foul. And that's his third. Page hobbling a little bit since that contact with Cameron Wright. He comes out of the game. He's their best player, only player in the ACC in the top 6 in the conference in scoring and assists. He hasn't had an assist today. Of course, they haven't scored a lot of points. He's going to go to the dressing room, or at least to the end of the bench.
North Carolina not only needs to get some scores, they have to have some stops, and the stops have to be consecutive.
Nate Britt's in for Page. He was a starter at the beginning of the year when they were without Leslie McDonald. He missed the first 9 games dealing with an NCAA issue. McDonald's shot is long and rebounded by Jamel Artis. Wright trying to catch them napping, and he did. They were a little bit slow in recognizing that Pittsburgh was pushing the ball, and Wright just kept on going, and he'll continue on to the line.
Little head hanging after Leslie McDonald missed that little chip shot underneath. That was an awkward angle to take that shot when he got the pass from McAdoo, but they missed it. So what? You got to move on, and Pittsburgh did. And they're going to the free throw line as a result. They just pushed the ball up the court quicker than North Carolina could recover.
And it's 4 fouls on Leslie McDonough, so he's 1 away from fouling out. Right along with the free throw. Page trying to get loose on the exercise bike at the end of their bench. They're a little short-handed in the backcourt now. McDonough to the bench with the 4 fouls, and Page unavailable at least for the moment. Very big lineup they have out there now. Basically the 1 guard Britt with 4 big bodies.
Not a great scoring lineup.
McAdoo fouled by Artis. They had a chance for 3 for James Michael McAdoo.
That's when James Michael McAdoo is at his best, when he's slashing to the basket. Went up to look like he was going to settle a screen there and just slipped it and got all the way to the rim. He's a catch and go driver and a terrific slasher cutter.
3 fouls on Jamel Artis, so some foul concerns now on either side. McAdoo makes the free throw. It's back to a 10-point game. Page still trying to work out whatever's ailing him. Here comes the Carolina crowd back into it.
And here's where North Carolina has to have a stop.
McAdoo very frisky on Artis, and Ramey Stein said easy to McAdoo. Didn't want to call a foul way out there. 10 to shoot. 10-point lead right where it was at the half. Patterson a step back 3 with Tokido in range, and there's Zana in the right place again.
He just threw Desmond Hubert out of the way. Just threw him out of the way.
Double-double for Zana with that bucket. He has 10 points now and 12 rebounds.
That really encapsulates the entire game for North Carolina. Just got out-fought.
McAdoo spinning, got bailed out a bit. Really wasn't a strong shot, but apparently enough contact to warrant the whistle, and he'll shoot 2 more.
Just tossed him right aside, and Desmond Hubert is a good athlete, but just needed to fight harder on that one, because nothing was going to deny Talib Zana on that roll, getting all the way to the rim.
He was called for the foul, the first on Zana. Joel James comes in. Sophomore forward at 6'10", 280.
It's going to be a little harder to throw him aside.
Yes, it is.
But you're going to try to run past him. That's what Zana does best, is run.
Let's get an update on Marcus Page from Janine.
Yeah, guys, he was back in the hallway running up and down, trying to loosen up that left thigh. He took a knee to the thigh. He is still on the bike trying to loosen it up. The trainer was stretching him, and he was in pain while he was being stretched.
Joel James called for the foul as he tried to knock the pass away. First foul on James, one of 11 children. He's the 8th of 11. His sister Kai is a very good player on the Florida State women's team.
North Carolina had gone to a 1-3-1 half-court trap. And now back to man-to-man, but it looked like James Michael McAdoo wasn't quite sure.
Patterson trying to drive on Tokido. James came to help Tokido. Right. Batted around and controlled in traffic by James, and another whistle. These officials have called 9 fouls. 5 against Pittsburgh, 4 on North Carolina in just over 4 minutes. Patterson, his 3rd. Let's take a look at a tournament challenge resume. It belongs to Pittsburgh, brought to you by Acura. 24-8 overall, and 11 regular season ACC wins. They got another in the conference tournament yesterday.
Well, it's a team that does not have a ton of high quality wins, but they have one on the road and they've won at neutral sites, and that bumps up their numbers. I mean, this team is in the NCAA tournament in a walk. It's not close.
Marcus Page back into the game. We remind you, you can go to ESPN.com and sign up for the tournament challenge. The foul just before the break was on Artis of Pittsburgh. That's his 4th. But Lamar Patterson has only 2. Page got that leg loose, came out firing and misses his first shot upon re-entering.
Good block out by Lamar Patterson on Bryce Johnson.
Newkirk showing that blazing speed Jamie Dixon talked about, and then Zana had it swatted away by Bryce Johnson.
Well, you can't let a guy turn that ball screen down, and good block here by Johnson, saving a basket after Talib Zana got yet another rebound.
Johnson blocked 5 in Carolina's win. Wow, what a bad pass, and Newkirk couldn't rescue it. Robinson
probably fortunate that he wasn't able to save that. The ball go back out of bounds underneath where it started, because that would have led to a basket by Nate Britt. Now at least North Carolina has to play 5-on-5 to score.
Johnson to inbound. We mentioned 5 blocks, a career high in the first meeting against Pittsburgh in the regular season. The Carolina 4-point win to go with 13 points and 7 rebounds against the Panthers. Chance to get it to single digits. 5 minutes into the second half. Zana rebounds the miss by McDonough.
A lot of jump shots for North Carolina. And not much going to the basket. It's not like they're playing against a bunch of shot blockers.
The rate the fouls are coming on both sides, there might not be anybody left when it's over. Page called for the foul, his second.
Well, Sean, the way the game's being called, that's why you want to go to the basket. You don't want to settle for jump shots when the officials are calling tight contact. Back to that 1-2-2 half-court zone. The middle wide open. And the corners will also be open because the big guys have to cover the corners.
Robinson, no, but there's Zana to tip it back up and in.
Pittsburgh's best offense has been a missed shot so that Talib Zana can score. He has dominated the glass.
He has 16 rebounds, 3 shy of his career high. That was set against Villanova March 3rd of last year.
Another jump shot for North Carolina.
Patterson's pass for Zana deflected out of bounds.
Zana, one of the top rebounders in the conference, just got inside position and essentially blocked out James Michael McAdoo to keep it. And that was about as easy as you're going to get.
He averages 8.5 rebounds per game. He's nearly doubled that today. Only Jabari Parker averaged more rebounds per game in the ACC this year. The Duke freshman 9 boards per game.
1-3-1 right now for North Carolina. The Tar Heels have to do something to disrupt the rhythm of Pittsburgh.
They handle it beautifully, and Wright has it tipped back in by Zana on the glass again.
Carolina probably to go box and 1 and put it on Zana so he can't get any more rebounds.
17 rebounds for Talib Zana.
And he's got almost 14 minutes left in the game. He may set a new record. Good body control on that tip in so he didn't get it when it was still on the rim.
Newkirk called for the foul, his second, and 16 fouls on Pitt. So Carolina is going to shoot a 1-and-1 on the next foul. Nope, be in the bonus, perhaps with 13+ minutes to go. Patterson, they left him wide open. And all of a sudden, it's back to a 17-point lead for Pitt.
And a lot of dazed and confused looks on the North Carolina bench right now.
7 straight points for the Panthers. Their largest lead 18, so they're just a point shy of that right now.
Well, Lamar Patterson, not like he did anything spectacular here. He just took advantage of 0 defense.
And that's a heck of a player right there that made a great case for being first team All ACC. Wound up on the second team.
I think if he hadn't been injured, Jay, during the year, that hand injury definitely affected his shooting for a stretch of about 6 or 7 games. Page trying to dump it underneath Zana there. Zana defends Tokido beautifully, and it's a held ball. James and Patterson, and it'll go over to the Pittsburgh Panthers. You and I have seen Zana play a lot, seen Pitt play a lot. Never better than today.
Never better. He's been everywhere, and he's had an excellent year.
He's gotten better and better throughout the course of his career, but he's been all over the place, and you knew that was an emphasis, that we were going to try to run some of the big guys for North Carolina. They've involved them in ball screens, and Zana his movement has been tremendous.
From Nigeria originally, came to this country in 2006, went to Bishop McNamara High School in Maryland. Good student. I believe Zana's already graduated from Pittsburgh with a degree in social science. Patterson long three with a shot clock running out. And Zana called for the foul going over the back of James. So here comes the 1-and-1 with 12:25 to go. Pittsburgh over the limit.
Joel James, a left-hander, and Roy Williams just putting in a lineup that will show some more fight. He's just trying to get somebody to compete out there at the highest level, because they have been outfought by Pittsburgh from the opening tap.
They won 12 in a row, lost the regular season finale at Duke, and now in a heap of trouble, looking at a second straight loss unless they can rally. Even though they're going to shoot a lot of free throws, you would think the rest of the way, don't necessarily capitalize a bunch, but as poor as they are from the line, it's 62% for the year.
So much depends on who gets fouled. You want Marcus Page to get fouled as often as possible, because he's just about automatic from the line.
Everybody else just about struggles. Page is 87.5%. The rest of the team combined is 57%. Newkirk fouled by Britt, and that is the 6th team foul on North Carolina, one away from the bonus with 12 minutes to go.
North Carolina's going back to the 1-3-1. Got Nate Britt along the baseline. Can throw over the top.
Right, baseline 2. Largest lead of the game for Pitt.
Really good passing Pittsburgh team. The ball doesn't stick in anybody's hands. It moves.
Page is going to have to work his second half magic again if they're going to come back. That's a 2-point goal for the sophomore Marcus Page. Another excellent student. Academic All-American. Right, left alone. Just about a 13-footer.
Like he was thrown off by how open he was.
Yeah. Almost like he couldn't believe it. McAdoo went to the left and was short with it. Patterson the rebound. 11 minutes to go. The winner will play Virginia in the semis tomorrow. Newkirk fouled by Jackson Simmons as he went up for the dunk. First foul on Simmons, who's played very little today.
And Roy Williams looks exasperated. Even the guards of Pittsburgh trying to dunk on his team, but Talib Zana has been the man of the match, just dominating the glass.
Got our Bruce Pearl in studio. Nebraska, Ohio State, a 3-point game at the half. Nebraska head coach Tim Miles tweeted this at the half: "We got to play the second half like the last 8 minutes of the first half." Coach, what do you make of this?
Tim Miles' home court is Pinnacle Bank Arena and it seats 15,000. He's just tweeting to the masses.
Benny Parker here putting Nebraska up 16, so his team did play the beginning of the second half like the end of the first half. Unfortunately, Ohio State's come back a little bit. Over on ESPN, it is now a 10-point Husker lead. Back to Greensboro.
Jay, I think you and I both believe the future very bright for Nebraska basketball with Tim Miles at the helm. As Bruce mentioned, they have a beautiful new arena. It's first year, Pinnacle Bank. They filled it for every game, and he's quite a personality, Tim Miles. Very likable guy and a good coach.
He is a really good coach, and he's done a great job with that Nebraska team and that Nebraska program. Teron Petaway is a terrific player. They'll be back in the NCAA tournament this year, and they can win there.
1 out of 2 from the line from Newkirk.
The foul has been charged to Pitt at number 11, Derek Randall.
Here's the American Championship brackets. They'll see semifinal action tonight starting at 7 on ESPN2. Houston and Louisville. Houston a surprise winner in the last round against SMU. Then Cincinnati, the number 1 seed, against UConn. Jackson Simmons shooting a 1-and-1.
For Cincinnati and UConn, it's one thing to try to stop Sean Kilpatrick, who really had a great season for Cincinnati. But Justin Jackson's going to be really the key to that ball game. He and Titus Rubles.
1 out of 2 from the line.
A violation by Pittsburgh. Never understood why they shoot another free throw on a violation.
What should happen?
North Carolina should get the ball.
Simmons doesn't play a lot. In there now. Goes 1 for 3 on that trip. He's 9 for 18 from the line for the year coming in.
Zana out of the ball game now. Got 17 rebounds. North Carolina's got 18.
The ACC record for rebounds in one game is 23 in the ACC tournament by John Richter back in 1959 for NC State against South Carolina in an overtime game.
And that was back in an era where shot selection was not what it is now. There were a lot more rebounds available. And if Talib Zana's put back in the ball game, there's over 10 minutes to go in this thing. That record's going to be, at the rate he was grabbing rebounds, that record's going to be in jeopardy of being obliterated.
Fouls on Isaiah Hicks. First free throw missed by Derek Randall, the transfer from Rutgers. Whoa. Well, long as well. Well, it's a rock tossing contest from the line at the moment. Nearly midway through the second half, Carolina down by 17, and Page, who's likely to make free throws, will go to the line.
Page just used a screen up top, and the screen was set far further out on the court than it had been earlier in the ball game. One of the things about Talib Zana's night, it'd be one thing if you're Roy Williams to see an opponent grab that many rebounds. It's another that he's grabbed so many untouched. He's had a lot of rebounds in this ball game where you give him a tremendous amount of credit for his activity and his effort because he earned it. But if you're the opposing coach watching this film, you're saying, where were our guys? You know, where's somebody laying a body on somebody fighting him for the ball?
Page gets them back within 15. Derek Randall went to the bench with 2 fouls. We are midway through the second half. Josh Newkirk fouled. Tried to split that trap. We could hear from our position very close to James Robinson yelling at him, dribble, dribble, dribble. Finally decided to try to dribble through that double team. The foul was called.
You got to dribble out of it or split it. And he did split it. Roy Williams asked for a walk, but it did look like he kept that left pivot foot down the entire time.
Hicks called for his second foul. Newkirk misses the front end of a 1-and-1. It'll be the double bonus the rest of the way. The remainder of the game. Both teams with 9 fouls in this half. Whoops. McDonough had it slip out of his hands. And there's a North Carolina foul. What would you say will be the over/under in elapsed time between now and the next whistle? Because I'll take the under, no matter what you say it is. 3 fouls now on Isaiah Hicks. It is the double bonus now. Lamar Patterson to the free throw line. Only player in the ACC this year who averaged at least 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. A do-it-all player for Pittsburgh.
He's just had a great year. Reminds you a little bit of Brad Wanamaker in the way he plays, doing so many different things. He doesn't do. There's Zahn again.
Yeah, his
on a free
18th
throw.
rebound. I believe Hicks deflected his putback attempt. Page banks it home. 14-point game, 9.5 to go. Through the hands of Newkirk as he was charging to the basket. Officials are going to confer. Jamie Dixon saying that was deflected. Carl Hicks and Brian Dorsey conferring. And, excuse me, Ramey Styons and Brian Dorsey conferring. Styons says it is Pittsburgh ball.
I thought it went off of Newkirk there.
Well, it hit McAdoo for sure. Roy Williams stomping his feet. And now Ramey Stein's going over there to tell him to back up. Well, it seems a lot of times
Just walk away and inbound the ball. It's not that hard.
Why?
If they made a call, inbound it.
This has been, in my opinion, a poorly officiated game. One of the very few that we've seen this year. But wow. 10 to shoot, 9 to go in regulation. Patterson finds some open space and is short with a 3. Then you sense momentum tipping a bit to the Carolina side. They doubled Page briefly. He gets an open look at a 3 that spins out. Another rebound for Talib Zanna. His 19th.
It's really not been a question. When the ball's been up on the backboard, Zanna's been the guy that's gotten every one.
Matches his career high. Carolina starting to trap in the half court. Jamie Dixon called a timeout. He thought Patterson was in trouble. He really wasn't. But Jamie didn't want to take any chances. 8:27 to go here in Greensboro. Pittsburgh still with a double-digit lead. Sean McDonough, Jay Bilas, and Janine Edwards back at the Greensboro Coliseum. Pittsburgh with the lead thanks in large part to Talib Zanna.
Just dominating the glass, throwing a North Carolina player out of the way. At other times, he's the guy that has inside position and blocks out the defensive player, and at other times he has been untouched. But one thing that has been consistent from the opening tap is Talib Zanna's motor has revved at a higher level than any other player on the floor. 19 rebounds is definitive evidence of that.
James Robinson to play it into the backcourt. 8.5 minutes to go. Result of that work by Zanna. Huge edge and second chance points. Robinson lays it in. Had options, made a good decision.
North Carolina came with a double team, and it looked like Lamar Patterson dragged that foot.
Here's Robinson with help coming. Off to Young. Fouled, and a chance for a three-point play.
I think that's it for Leslie McDonald. A tough shot, and heads hanging on the North Carolina sideline. Every time the Tar Heels have tried to make a move, they have been pushed back again, and the speed of Josh Newkirk is always difficult to throw back on the break. He got away with this one. A good catch and finish by Michael Young.
As you said, Leslie McDonald fouls out. And that's important because if they need to start firing up some threes, he's the only other three-point threat beyond Marcus Page. He has 38 threes this year. Page has 75. Nobody else on the team has more than 8. So Page is a one-man band beyond the arc now for Carolina. And the Tar Heels have not made a three today. Last time they won a full game without a three-point field goal was way back in 1997 against Princeton. 4 fouls on Michael Young, and immediate timeout.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's and Dish Network.
Chris Cotter in studio over in the A-10. Really good game between two bubble teams, St. Joe's and Dayton. Ronald Roberts Jr. Nasty putback here. It's now a 6-point St. Joe's lead, 3.5 left to go there. Meanwhile, a 16-point second half lead has been cut to just 2. Tim Miles got to get back on Twitter. It's now 5 points, Nebraska on top. 4 minutes left to go in that one on ESPN.
All right, Chris, here Virginia awaits the winner of this one between Pittsburgh and North Carolina. That'll be the first semifinal tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Still plenty of action tonight on ESPN from Greensboro. NC State against Syracuse. The Orange playing their first ACC tournament game in their first year of this conference. Then Clemson and Duke. Tigers beat Duke at Clemson during the regular season. JP Tokido at the line for North Carolina, facing its largest deficit. 19 points, 7:52 to go. One out of two for Tokido.
North Carolina coming with a 1-2-1-1 press.
Trying to turn over the Panthers, and instead they foul Robinson. Tokido called for the foul, his third. Both teams have been in the double bonus since yesterday, and Robinson will go back to the free throw line.
Pittsburgh has been a good team all year long. They have played well in stretches, but they're manhandling this team. Their performance against Wake Forest, and Wake Forest not a great basketball team, but North Carolina is a good team, and they have manhandled this team. And this is the best I've seen Pittsburgh look all year long, the last 2 days.
As we said, they were rolling right along nicely before the injuries to Patterson and Zana. Now, would that be the kind of thing that the tournament committee, when it considers Pittsburgh seeding, will keep in mind?
I would think they should, but I'm not sure. I'm kind of on the fence about that. I don't know how you can really fairly include injuries into everything. You know, because Pittsburgh plays with a couple guys hurt and doesn't play as well as a result of it. And other teams that sit a guy out get credit for it. I don't understand that. Injuries are part of the game. You almost want to go with, look, you are what your record says you are, and don't get hurt. But making all these adjustments, like adjusting for Joel Embiid being out for Kansas, and whatever their record is, seed them according to their record. Because then they're trying to predict, the committee's trying to predict what the team will do in the tournament. Now, that's a fool's errand.
I would think they might get some easy baskets, Pittsburgh, here with Carolina pressing. Right, no. Zana. Well, it looked like he was fouled.
Right now it's a clock issue. Bring it out and then attack.
Newkirk fouled, and it drops.
And right now the North Carolina coaches are absolutely exasperated. Little guards, and Josh Newkirk is a really good player, but little guards are taking it to the rim to dunk on you. And that's the second time he's done it from both sides of the floor. And that's an aggressive move.
Second foul on Nate Britt. Newkirk the free throw. Zana, meanwhile, just got his 20th rebound. That is his career high. It's 6 away from the Pittsburgh single game record in any game. And as we mentioned earlier, 3 away from the ACC tournament. My goodness.
Well, that's the second time Zana's been caught on the wrong side. You get to the sideline side of a postman, and that's no man's land. You got to stay between him and the basket. Jamie Dixon telling him to just show his hands. You can't get a foul called on you if your hands are up.
Three fouls on Zana. McAdoo the free throw. With 44 fouls called in this game. Still 7:13 to go. Zana's asking Carl Hess, why wasn't that a foul? Patterson in trouble. Britt got it off the floor. Page for 3, their first 3 of the game.
Carolina finally getting something done with pressure.
More pressure, and Pittsburgh turns it over. Last touch by Josh Newkirk.
Pittsburgh not handling that pressure particularly well, getting the ball inbounded inside the free throw line. Really good pass by JP Tokido to Marcus Page for that 3.
Page hoists another 3. Inside position for Tokido. He was fouled.
North Carolina starting to get a little bit something going, but they did that in the first half as well and came out in the second half, started 2 of 10. So you wonder if this 15-point mountain is a little bit too high to climb with 6:44 to go.
3 fouls on Robinson. Yeah, you're going to shoot a lot of free throws because of the constant whistles. But Carolina's such a bad free throw shooting team. Number 340 in the country. The NCAA website only lists 345. But they get an offensive rebound. McAdoo, it rolled off. Boy, they just attack Zana, who has another rebound and a held ball.
Yet another rebound for Talib Zana.
His 21st.
Tries to go straight up and times it exactly right.
I thought he got hit in the face.
He got hit all over the place. I don't know how that's a held ball.
I mean, they've called every little breath and brush all day long. And then they just let that go. And been even, 22 fouls apiece.
Slice cut screen for the screener. They didn't read it very well.
Page, good lift into that 3. 12-point game at all kinds of time. They keep up the pressure.
Robinson looked like he walked there.
Zana fouled. And a chance for 3 for Talib Zana as he was hit at the rim by Johnson.
A terrific job at the end of that play. Pittsburgh a little bit shaky and breaking the pressure, but Newkirk took it right at Bryce Johnson, forced him to help up, and Talib Zana stayed right behind on the baseline in that short corner and was able to finish the play. Newkirk did a really nice job there.
He made the free throw as well. 15 points, 21 rebounds, 2 shy of the ACC tournament record. Johnson alone. Britt found him. 6 minutes to go. Pittsburgh by 13. More pressure from North Carolina.
You don't want to catch it there.
Patterson lost it. Out of bounds. Last touch by the Tar Heels. The diving Britt.
Page tried to flip that ball and knock it to Britt. You're better off just getting possession of it. The North Carolina right now with this 1-2-1-1 pressure. Pittsburgh is going to have to catch it further up the floor over the top if they can, because otherwise they're going to get trapped in that coffin corner.
Ooh, tough catch by Robinson as they bounced it into him. Biggest lead was 20 points, and that was not long ago with 7:22 left.
Let's see if North Carolina brings a trap here.
They do.
Got to create some chaos out there because Pittsburgh has not been sure-handed with the ball as they usually are.
Zana fouled. Carolina fans thought he traveled. Tokido hit him. It'll be 2 shots for Talib Zana and the 4th foul for Tokido.
Zana catches the ball here.
That left foot didn't move.
Close.
There are a lot of NBA scouts here today, and
that not one of them.
No. Thank you for clarifying that in case there was any doubt. But they have to be impressed by Talib Zana. Seen some projections that have him as a 2nd-round pick. McAdoo scores inside.
A little contact there, and McAdoo finishes it. Now North Carolina has to get another stop it. Pittsburgh just has to be receivers. They're not coming to the ball. They're running away from it.
And be more aggressive moving up the court. Patterson got called for a walk.
Pittsburgh catching the ball. Nobody coming to the ball to be a receiver. And
And no fouls there after everything that they've called all day long. Wow.
I think toward the end of the game, you have to expect a little bit more contact. What a horrible pass.
And a timeout after Robinson had the steal. He was trapped in the corner and calls timeout. Be a 30-second timeout. Just under 5 minutes to go. It's tightening up in Greensboro. .30 for 30 Requiem for the Big East explores the meteoric rise of the Big East Conference as it became one of the most successful college sports leagues in the country. And it fought for survival in a new era. 30 for 30 Requiem for the Big East presented by Infinity. Sunday night at 9 on ESPN. Also live on Watch ESPN. 31 years in the Big East for Pittsburgh. First season in the ACC. Trying to take down a ACC blue blood in Carolina and advance to the semifinals. Robinson played it ahead. Pitt had only one turnover in the first 12 minutes of this half. They've had 4 in the last 3 minutes. Cameron Wright attacks the bucket.
And that's how you break pressure. Pittsburgh has been in control of this game from the beginning and did not break pressure very effectively the last several minutes. But after that last timeout, that's the Pittsburgh team that you've come to know this year. Excellent passing, strong with the ball. When pressure comes to you, attack that pressure at the point it's applied. That was a great job by Cameron Wright.
That's the 4th foul on Talib Zana. Michael Young comes in, one player with 4 fouls replacing another. McDonald's already fouled out for North Carolina. Tokido has 4, Johnson 3, Zana 4, Artis 4, Young 4. Young the rebound for Pittsburgh. Boy, Newkirk's ahead of the field. He's calling for the ball. 2-on-1. He has Young with him. Newkirk laid it in. Jackson Simmons was back defending.
Nobody to block a shot on the back end of that press. If you break it to score, you can get some opportunities.
Page, an open deep 3, rattled it home. Heating up in the second half, as is his custom.
Here's the sense of urgency that North Carolina was looking for, but the question is it too late?
They get through the pressure, and it leads to an opportunity break again. Boy, Young came to a jump stop and nearly traveled.
He did travel.
And for as helter-skelter as it's been for Pitt, Jay, still a 13-point lead, and they're going to go to the line after the media timeout.
Well, they've been dominant.
Foul, the 3rd on Marcus Page.
It's been a dominating performance by Pittsburgh from the very start, and when they decide to really go after the ball and be strong with it, looked like Pittsburgh got away with a walk. Everybody's an official.
Cotter, Coach Pearl in studio. Big Ten, Ohio State down 18 in the second half to Nebraska. Fighting all the way back, Aaron Kraft behind the back and gets the bucket to go. Buckeyes up 3 right now, 5 seconds left on ESPN. 8-10, Dayton St. Joe's. Coach Langston Galloway giving himself some space.
You got a referee advantage, disadvantage. That's a clear push-off. Should have been called.
That gave St. Joe's a 2-point lead. Then, final seconds for Dayton. Devin Oliver gets a good look, misses the 3 right now. It's a 3-point St. Joe's lead with 1 second left. So Dayton trying to draw up a play. Back to Greensboro.
All right, Chris, Bruce, thank you. Just under 4 minutes to go. Pittsburgh a 13-point lead. 2 free throws for the freshman Josh Newkirk, who made the first.
Well, he's a good player, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
And he's getting better and better. His last 4 games, he's played really well.
Jamie Dixon talked about he's gotten better, the defensive end. He's developed a better understanding of what it is they want him to do defensively. Britt wound up back with the ball somehow, and a bad pass cross court. Flicked by Wright off to Robinson.
Wow. What was Patterson doing there?
Oh, no. He turned it over. He just reached his arms around and put a hug on Britt.
Took it right into trouble for no reason.
Here's Janine Edwards.
Well, guys, that wasn't on Jamie Dixon's list in that last timeout, but he was very specific of other things that he wants his guys to do. Number 1, make Carolina use clock. Make them use clock on offense. Make them use the whole clock. Be stronger with the ball to break their press, and when fouled, make those free throws.
Britt missed the first. Identical, 16 for 27 for each team. That's 59%.
Make your second free throw, you get to set up this 1-2-1-1 full court pressure. There's not enough receivers right now. Everybody bunched up.
Newkirk ahead to Patterson. We'll try to run some clock. Right underneath with the left hand. Nice find by Robinson, who's played a terrific game for Pittsburgh, and the lead is 15 again.
Yeah, Robinson has been really good. Somebody needs to take over a little bit more against this pressure. Gave up an easy bucket there. Pittsburgh not wanting to foul.
Yeah.
You don't want to give up
use
quick
much
one.
time. Didn't follow those instructions.
That's the way to break the pressure there. Throw over the top of him.
McAdoo, the reach-in foul with under 3 minutes to go. Second foul on James Michael McAdoo.
Foul has been charged to North Carolina. Number 43, James Michael McAdoo, his second.
Here's Newkirk again. 5 out of 8 from the line.
You see this every once in a while with Roy Williams.
He gets a little dizzy.
Yeah,
from time to time.
He's had issues with vertigo in the past, but this happens. It's not infrequent.
Well, 2 misses. North Carolina within range. Page, their only legitimate 3-point weapon out there. They're hawking him at the line. Then Michael Young blocks the shot, saved it. Up for grabs for Bryce Johnson. It's an 11-point game.
Pittsburgh switching when Marcus Page comes off a ball screen. They want to stay with him. If somebody else gets a 2, they'll live with it.
Cameron Wright has Young and Newkirk. Young missed the dunk, contested by Bryce Johnson. They say Johnson didn't touch it, so it's Carolina ball.
Well, Bryce Johnson did a nice job at challenging that dunk. And got a piece of the ball right at the top to knock it out of Young's hands. This is where Newkirk's got to get that ball. You can't just let it go out of bounds and let the referee make the decision. If you can get it, get it.
Huge possession now for North Carolina. Can they get it into single digits and put a little pressure on Pitt? Page for 3.
We talked about Marcus Page off broken plays, and now right into a trap again.
Right has Zana with him. Zana. Well, I guess Carolina has to stick with that press and run the risk that they'll give up an easy one because they're under 2 minutes to go now and still down by 10. The press has worked well for them. Lobbed inside to Johnson. Timeout North Carolina within 8.
A game that Pittsburgh had to expect they were going to be able to move out. North Carolina has made a ball game. Pittsburgh having to expend extra energy in doing so. Maybe a factor if they wind up winning this game and having to go up against Virginia. Off the broken play, Marcus Paige does such a good job of running to that three-point line, and Talib Zana probably should have gone straight up with that, might have gotten fouled, but he's had an outstanding game.
When Carolina got within 8 moments ago, and again on that bucket, it's the first time they've had a single-digit deficit since 9.5 minutes remained in the first half. Within 8, 1:39 to go, and you just expect, I would think, Jay, more of the same from North Carolina. Put on that press, hope you turn Pitt over, and if not, some quick fouls.
Yeah, without fear of fouling, you go after the ball. They've got to make something happen. You know, they've let a lot of time go in this thing and only showed a sense of urgency of late, and Pittsburgh has not done as good a job as they're capable of doing of handling this full court pressure because it's a very good passing team. They're strong. They've got a lot of good handlers and good passers. But now, you can't worry about that now. You just have to be strong going forward the last minute 39. But this
Pittsburgh
game
hasn't helped itself at the free throw line. Ordinarily 72% from the line for the year. They're just 55% today. 16 out of 29, so they've had some chances to make it a bit more comfortable from the line, but they're lucky that North Carolina has been equally inept from the line, virtually at 60.7%.
Well, from Pittsburgh's perspective, they have to feel like they should have salted this game away already in the way they've handled pressure and attacked it and the way they've shot free throws.
Mark Patterson inbound. Isaiah Hicks right on him. Patterson into Robinson with Wright, Zana, and Newkirk. Travel is the call.
Well, that's really a poor job by Pittsburgh. In a game where they have done a really good job most of the game, their handling of this pressure has been poor. And well, you can't catch the ball right there. You know, James Robinson shouldn't have given it up. They've got to get receivers that come to the ball and dribble out of pressure.
Page. Britt, that's a long two from the corner. Battle for the rebound, won by Tokido. Page has a look at a three. And a foul on Patterson as he was holding off Britt. Well, they were both chasing down the loose ball near the Carolina bench. That's 4 fouls on Patterson.
Pittsburgh has made some really poor decisions down the stretch. Patterson almost fouled Britt on that shot. And he is not an outstanding perimeter shooter. And then fouls him right here as he's going after a ball where he's headed toward the sideline.
Britt, wow. Banged around the rim and stayed down.
This is where a free throw blockout is really important, Sean.
Pittsburgh 6 turnovers in the last 6.5 minutes. The 20-point lead is down to 6 with 1:21 to go. Tokido out. He's a good defender, but perhaps Roy Williams doesn't want him to get his 5th foul here with the press, and then a foul to come if they can't steal it. More trouble. Newkirk lost the ball. McDonough got it back.
What a meltdown by Pittsburgh.
Page, Zana defending with 4 fouls, and has he just fouled out?
North Carolina has brought the heat. Pittsburgh should be salting this one away. And it has been an absolute meltdown by the Panthers down the stretch.
And Zana departs, having provided one of the great performances you'll see. 19 points and 21 rebounds, 2 shy of the rebounding record in a single game in the ACC tournament.
He was great. What a terrific performance by Talib Zana. But right now, we've got a 2-possession game with over a minute to go. And North Carolina has put an awful lot of game pressure on Pittsburgh. And you have to think that every Pittsburgh player had already moved on to the semifinals in their minds. This is quite a shock, I think, to their systems and to a lot of observers, myself included. I thought they should have been salting this one away too.
They should have been going to Carolina in their minds. Largest lead was 20. It's now 5. That 20-point lead with 7:22 to go. Page, second best free throw shooter in the conference behind Malcolm Brogdon.
The exasperated look has left the face of the Carolina bench and traveled down to the Pittsburgh bench.
And the crowd adding to the angst for the Pittsburgh Panthers. Relentless pressure. And Pittsburgh has struggled against it. Patterson, the veteran, throws it into Robinson, who walks. Crowd thought he did. He's in trouble again. And the foul comes on Page.
That was a clear travel on the part of James Robinson. Caught it again to where he could get trapped.
Been a brutally officiated game. Brutal.
I mean, that's about it.
No doubt.
That's crazy. You can't miss that. It's impossible.
Page is fouled, his 4th. Robinson will shoot 2. 4 out of 6 from the line. No. It popped out.
There's a lot of time left in this game, Sean.
A minute to go. And it's going to take a long time at the rate the whistles have been coming. Seems like there hasn't been more than 10 or 15 seconds without a whistle in this game, particularly in the second half.
Well, Carolina needs to get the ball to the rim.
Page trying to split the defense. Taken away. 3-on-1 break. Robinson knocked down by Tokoto, and he is fouled out.
Perhaps not the best decision by Marcus Page to try to split that double team coming off the ball screen. That's just too much congestion. Take it out of it or pass it out and then attack. Terrific job by Cameron Wright at taking that thing the other way and getting fouled. Now he's got to knock these free throws in.
Tokoto out of the ball game with 5 points and 7 rebounds. 48.5 to go. Arrow in Pittsburgh's favor. Multiple timeouts left for each team. Cameron Wright, the free throw shooter. Two for 4 from the line today. For the year, 69.5%. A lot of Duke fans in the house. Likely cheering for Pittsburgh, you would think. 1 out of 2. 2-possession game, but they have only Page really as a 3-point threat.
And you don't really need a 3 here.
And Britt goes to the goal, and it's tapped back up and in by Bryce Johnson. No Zana on the court for Pittsburgh to fend off the rebounders of North Carolina. And it's a 4-point game with 39 seconds remaining. The winner will advance to play Virginia. A winner earlier today against Florida State in a terrific game by the senior Joe Harris.
Well, Joe Harris had 20 points. He was aggressive offensively, looking for his shot. His teammates were looking for him. Anthony Gill came off the bench for the Cavaliers, had an outstanding game as well. But Virginia was in control of that game for most of the way against Florida State. Pittsburgh appeared to be in control of this one, but it has gotten out of control for the Panthers. And during this timeout, you know that Jamie Dixon was talking about one thing, and that's inbounding the ball, being strong with it, and handling pressure. You handle pressure, you shoot free throws. If you make them, you leave here a winner. If you don't, then you got problems.
Patterson running the baseline into Young. Turns up the court. That was the right direction for him. They play it out to Robinson. They move the ball quickly, trying to avoid the fouls Under 30 seconds to go, and finally the foul comes from Marcus Page. It'll be Cameron Wright back to the free throw line with 25.4 remaining. And Page is out. Page said it wasn't me, but the officials say it was, so he departs with 27 points. 20 in the second half. I mentioned earlier he scores twice as many in the second half as the first. Here comes Wade Moody, senior walk-on, into the game. Didn't expect to see him in a close game. Played in only 11 games all year for a total of 24 minutes. And now they are really bereft of offensive options, North Carolina.
Well, it definitely hurts. But they needed to get that foul earlier. They also had opportunities to get a trap, especially when Young first had the ball in front of the North Carolina bench. They allowed him to go down the length of the court when they could have trapped him there.
North Carolina has nobody on the court who's made double-digit in threes for the year. Nobody's made more than 9 threes. Boy, Wright, an empty trip to the line.
Get the
Nate
ball.
Britt.
Get it to the rim.
Drives on Patterson. Missed the layup. Patterson and Robinson there, and a North Carolina foul with 16 seconds to go.
Should have just gone straight up. I don't know why he was taking himself away from the basket. If you go straight up, you got a chance to make that thing. He wasn't even looking at the rim. You got to keep your eyes on the rim the entire time. And Lamar Patterson was not going to want to foul. And just a mistake by Nate Britt.
And Britt committed the foul, his third. Wow, Pittsburgh. With 50% from the line now. Roy frustrated with that last possession. Pittsburgh just 18 out of 36. North Carolina's actually been the better free throw team today. Just 3 for their last 10. The Panthers from the line after that make. Britt hoists a 3. Yes.
They have really fought. North Carolina's been a resilient team, and they've been resilient in this one. But Pittsburgh has not handled its business particularly well down the stretch. Those two things have been related. But in the second half, Marcus Page caught fire. And Pittsburgh did not handle the full court pressure by North Carolina. Did not handle it very well at all. Wound up turning the ball over. North Carolina able to get back in this thing as a result. In a game it looked like they were completely out of, is now a 1-possession game with 11.4 to go in regulation.
It was a 2 for Britt, so it's a 3-point game. The arrow in favor of Pittsburgh if there's a tie-up. And if you're just joining us, yes, both teams are in the double bonus. There have been 56 fouls in this game. 1 timeout left for North Carolina, 2 for Pittsburgh. Patterson, the inbounder again. Hicks trying to make his life difficult. And there's a hold. They were holding Robinson. It was Britt guilty of the hold.
Carolina in the mode where they're switching everything. Pittsburgh did a good job of moving their offense further down the floor to give them some space to come back to the ball.
4 fouls on Britt. Robinson. Huge 4-point lead, 2-possession game unless they make the disastrous mistake of fouling a 3-point shooter. Artis is going to come back in to play defense.
Right now,
Newkirk comes out.
Right now for Pittsburgh, you don't want to allow an open 3 and you don't want to foul. If they get a 2, that's something you can give up.
Into Britt. 10 seconds to go. McDonough launched a three. Patterson the rebound, and Hicks and Johnson are there, and that should do it. Hicks the foul, and they're celebrating now on the Pittsburgh bench. It turned into a seat squirmer. They led by 20 with just more than 7 minutes to go and had to hang on. Turnovers and missed free throws caused them a problem. Now Brian Dorsey is summoning Carl Hicks over to the scorer's table.
Well, the end of this wasn't as pretty as Pittsburgh would have liked.
Carl Hess over to the scorer's table. Maybe a question about the clock.
Pittsburgh played well in this thing up until the last 6 or 7 minutes when they were loose with the ball. I think leaving here, they may feel a little bit down about the way they finished the game, but they ought to feel up about the way they started it, because Pittsburgh showed how well they can play. They're a very capable team. But they're going to have to be a lot stronger with the ball against Virginia. Virginia's not going to press, but in the half court, if you're not strong with it, they'll take it from you.
Fitting that this game should end with a lengthy conversation by the officials. This second half is taking about an hour and a half to play. Constant stoppages. With 4 seconds to go, we'll endeavor to find out what the question is. They're just now, it seems, starting to look at a monitor after all that talking. So if it holds up, and it looks like it will, Pittsburgh will play Virginia. They had a great game with them in the regular season. That was at Pittsburgh on February 2nd. It went right down literally to the buzzer. Malcolm Brogdon hit a three for UVA to give them a 48-45 victory. Going back, they wanted to see it from the start, maybe to see if the clock started on time.
It did, as soon as Britt grabbed the ball.
And that loss to Virginia, one of several right at the buzzer. You were there for the game against Cincinnati. That was decided at the wire. Jamie Dixon bemoaning yesterday the fact they've had 3 losses at the buzzer, and literally against Virginia, it was in the final fraction of a second that Brogdon beat them.
Same thing with Syracuse when Tyler Ennis hit that 35-40 footer.
The clock has been reset to 4.3 seconds.
Wow.
Well,
they're putting 0.3 of a second back on.
So we're net. What have we lost there? We gained 0.3. Lost 10 that we'll never get back.
Well, at a time of the year when the officials are being closely evaluated with an eye for the NCAA tournament, I don't think any of these 3 helped themselves today with this performance. Wow. McDonough. Wade Moody won't even fire up a shot, and Pittsburgh advances 80-75. Their 25th win of the year. Carolina, after a 12-game winning streak, has lost 2 in a row as they head off to the NCAA tournament. And it'll be Pittsburgh and Virginia in the semifinal, the first of the day tomorrow. Talib Zanna, 19 points, 21 rebounds. He fouled out with 1:03 to go. James Robinson at 19 points for Carolina. Marcus Page, 27. So the first semifinal set tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Virginia and Pittsburgh. Still 2 more semifinals here in Greensboro tonight. North Carolina State and Syracuse at 7. Clemson and Duke at 9. And the winners will meet up in the second semifinal tomorrow. Final score is Pittsburgh 80 and North Carolina 75. Now for Janine Edwards, Jay Bilas, Sean McDonough. So long from Greensboro. Tune back in at 7 o'clock tonight for more from the ACC Tournament.